Well, we just showed a sign, I think it was last week's show, of this, thing inviting teachers to come along and go to a teachers thing for Palestine, and it had location in your school, meaning, it should be in your school. You're driving all of this stuff.
They're not trying to hide it, are they?
No. It's just extraordinary.
Yeah, and I mean, it's become particularly apparent over the past few months, obviously off the back of the Voice campaign where they put so much of their money into the yes vote and into campaigning and resources and all of that for the yes vote. We had a position on the Voice. We didn't have one. Our position was very clear. We're not going to tell our members how to vote because this isn't union business.
It's got nothing to do with
nothing to do with
school business.
Exactly.
It shouldn't even be. God, it's just crazy. Another thing I'm particularly concerned about is that there was recently this report from IPA. Bella Debrera did a fantastic study, I think, pulling together all of the stuff that universities are teaching kids, working out what our unis are actually it's not kids, but teaching teachers. Student teachers. So what are our universities teaching these student teachers? And she found that it was like half of the subjects that are on offer, or more than half of the subjects that are on offer, all had some link to gender theory or identity politics or woke theory or something of some kind, right? There were those sorts of subjects, social science, waffly stuff. And there was very little focus on teaching teachers to teach numeracy and literacy, so that what's happening is we've got a problem with numeracy and literacy coming out the other end in terms of the teachers that we're getting. Yeah,
there's a number of, I'm glad that this issue around the curriculum and obviously teacher courses as well is coming up, because there was also a report released by the Grattan Institute of all places talking about
that's a left-wing think
tank. That's a left-wing think tank, and it's talking about just how dire the situation is when it comes to sciences. So no surprise, we're about 70%, we're learning about 70% less. Our students are learning 70% less than a lot of students in comparable countries, comparable Western democracies, when it comes to biology, when it comes to other STEM fields as well. They might be teaching climate science, but the actual basics aren't being taught in school, and it's no surprise that teachers are clutching at straws in the classroom because they potentially haven't been, given the tools that they need to be able to teach properly.
Yeah.
And that flows in. It's a big flow-on effect. I mean, there are so many issues. I would say the sort of ideologies that are being pushed in schools is a big problem, but it is not the key problem. It is a symptom of a centralized system. So when you've got all of the decisions being made in capital cities for schools.
Right.
The Department of Education has become so bloated. Each state Department of Education, the federal one, is quite useless as well. When you've got all these decisions being made on student discipline, on curriculum, whatever it is, on how it's taught, being made in capital cities.
Because it's not just curriculum, as you say, student discipline was also another thing that came out, how badly teachers are being trained in how to manage the classroom environment and keep control and that sort of thing. And discipline, that's what they want, right?
Absolutely.
And
so
not getting that.
All these key issues are a symptom of this centralised system. So the teacher shortage, when it comes to the ideologies being pushed in classrooms, the student discipline, all of that is a result of a centralised system.
Right. So it's capital city decision making being pumped out from the centre. There's no
one size fits all. That
no
sort of
competition
stuff.
in the marketplace. No different people coming up with different innovations and ideas and having different schools that parents can send their kids to and all this sort of thing. It's all just being centrally pushed out, and they've tried to nationalise it even more. So Canberra becomes the capital city that it's coming out of, and we've seen how out of touch Canberra is, given the Voice vote. But yeah, I mean, this thing about 1/3 of school students failing to meet the minimum standards for reading and writing and numeracy in the NAPLAN tests.
Yep.
And last week, two of Australia's most eminent scientists, we've got Nobel laureate and ANU Vice-Chancellor Professor Brian Schmidt, and the former Chief Scientist of Australia, Dr. Alan Finkel, both of them saying, look, we've got this terrible levels of literacy and numeracy among our school students. So decentralization might be the answer to all of this, giving schools more power, having more. I know that I think it was Campbell Newman, wasn't it, that in Queensland introduced the idea of independent schools, so taking some state schools and letting them have more autonomy. Yep. Can we do more of that? And what are your thoughts on I mean, some liberal economists have said to me, the way to do it, to actually get it to work, is to, instead of funding schools, you fund the parents. So you do school voucher, education vouchers to parents, and then they choose the school they want and spend that voucher like money. You go, I want to go send my kids this. So a school that has good teachers in it is going to get more. And
Exactly.
will that work? Is that possible?
It's part of the plan that we've got as well to go local.
Okay.
So that is, running schools locally. So having parent-elected boards with principal, 3 teacher reps, and 3 parents as well. So that's where a lot of these decisions can then be made. A lot of the administration can come back to local schools, so there's not pointless bureaucratic administration being done.